Good morning, gamers. My voice approaches, and good morning, gamers. Good morning, gamers. Welcome to Gattsy on Goosebumps, the only show in which you get to watch me read and review every single Goosebumps book from R.L. Stine's original series. And today we are looking at Goosebumps number 51, Beware the Snowman. I don't know, kind of lackluster cover, I feel like. We've got a very scary looking snowman here, but there's not a lot to look at besides the snowman in the mailbox there. Tagline is, he's got a heart of cold, can't fault that though, and the blurb reads as follows. No melting allowed. Jacqueline used to live with her Aunt Greta in Chicago, but not anymore. They've moved to a place called Sherpia. It's a tiny village on the edge of the Arctic Circle. Jacqueline can't believe she's stuck in Nowheresville. No movie theaters, no malls, no nothing. Plus, there's something really odd about the village. At night, there are strange howling noises, and in front of every house, there's a snowman. A creepy snowman with a red scarf, a deep scar on his face, and a really evil smile. Aunt Greta never gives Jacqueline an explanation as to why they have to move to Sherpia on the edge of the Arctic Circle. She just says it's time for a change. So there's obviously something, suspicious there, but Jacqueline's just like, all right, I guess it's time for a change. Like, she just accepts moving away from all her friends and, all her family in Chicago without much of an explanation. Aunt Greta and Jacqueline's mother used to live in that town there, but her mum died when she was very young and she never knew her father. Remember that for later, which is why she lives with her aunt. She's not very happy to be in this very snowy, boring village. There's hardly any people. And it's a bit weird. She always hears these howling noises at night, which sound like a strange kind of animal. And every house has like a snowman built. It's exactly the same, like with a red scarf and a scar on its face and an evil grin. Whenever she talks to the two kids she meets, warn her not to go up the mountain in this town, and Jacqueline's like, why? And like, just don't do it, could be dangerous, just don't do it. She's like, something odd there. And whenever she quizzes Aunt Greta, like, what do you think all these snowmen are about? She's like, it's probably just some superstition, custom. But Jacqueline's like, So eventually one of the kids, Rolanda, tells Jacqueline the folklore of this town. Many years ago, two sorcerers lived in the town and they created an evil snowman and got him trapped in an ice cave at the top of the mountain. And the reason he's the one howling at night. The snowman's howling from up there. And the reason they build all the snowmen is so if he comes down, he'll be like appeased at like all these snowmen and go back up. But if it doesn't come out ever, why would they need to build the snowman? I guess as a precaution. The one time she does venture up the mountain, this crazy bearded man stops her with his wolf pet and he's like scares her away. Something's definitely up that mountain. So she resolves to go check it out, essentially. And the younger brother of Rolanda says, yes, that story is all true. And also I discovered the snowman with my friend a few weeks ago. It does definitely exist. Don't go up the mountain. She's like, well, I've got to know for sure. So I'm going to go up the mountain. You two are going to help me distract. Conrad is the man who guards the mountain. You're going to distract him and I'm going to sneak up. And for some reason, she's always got in her head this nursery rhyme, that Beware the Snowman. It's just, her mother used to read it to her as a kid, and for some reason, as soon as she came back, it got stuck in her head. And she's like, why am I suddenly remembering this all of a sudden? Rolanda and Eli distract Conrad, and she ventures all the way up to the top of this ice cave, and sure enough, there is the snowman. And he's big. He doesn't have a scarf. He looks the same as the snowman, I think, down the bottom, but he doesn't have a red scarf, so I don't know where that came into the tradition. Which would be comical, because, why would a monster snowman need a scarf at all? Why would a monster snowman exist, I guess? But he's bellowing and he's screaming, he's like, what's your name? And she, says her name. And, whoa. Twist coming in 3, 2... Snowman's like, I'm your dad. And she's like, it's very much a Star Wars moment. It's like, I'm your father. And she's like, what? That can't be true. So the snowman explains. And he's like, your mother and your aunt were sorcerers. They didn't want you to be with me, so they turned me into a snowman and like took you away from me. That's why she's come back, because the curse wears off after 10 years, so she's got to put the curse on me again for another 10 years. That's why you've come back here. The only way to break the curse, I can't tell you what it is, because that would violate the curse. I can't tell you, but I can give you a hint. It involves that poem. And she's like, I've got it. I need to remember what the second verse of that poem is that has been stuck in my head. And that will break the curse. So she goes to leave, and there's Aunt Greta. And Aunt Greta's like, no, the snowman's lying. Here's what actually happened. Your mother and father were sorcerers. That is part of the story. They created a monster and then encased him in the body of a snowman. And now he's up here. Also, I've got the book of poems here, but I can't let you read it. Why did she bring it up to the mountain then, if her whole intention was not to let her read it? It's like, I'm going to throw it away right now. Just throw it away before you come up the mountain. But Jacqueline's like, look, I have to know the truth. She grabs it. She reads the poem. And the snowman's like, haha, you fell for it. I'm not actually your dad at all. And all the snow melts away. And sure enough, there's this red-skinned monster underneath. And he's like, I'm going to turn you into, destroy you. I don't know what his threat is. What's he going to do once he's free? Anyway, he goes to grab them when suddenly, guess what comes to save them? The army of snowmen that they built come and push the monster back into the cave until he like freezes again. And Conrad's like, I use my magic to send these snowmen to save you from the monster that was disguised as a snowman. Also, I'm your dad. I had to stay here because I created the monster, so I had to keep everybody safe. That's why I stay on the mountain. I guess we can be a family again. And then in a comical twist at the end, the snowmen are like, hey, can we get down? It's cold here. The snowmen are talking. That's the only twist. There are a lot of questions. I don't hate this one, but there's a lot of questions. Why not just have it be a snowman that came to life? Or even if you want to do the sorcerer thing, fine, but why just make it they enchanted a snowman to come to life? Why is it that they created a monster and then froze it in the body of a snowman, but it can still move around or anything? I don't get why R.L. Stine does this. Ghost Camp, for example. You know, the ghosts are real, but they create this illusion of a monster. But that monster isn't real, but the ghosts are. Like, I don't know why he insists on fusing so many elements just towards the end of the story. Just have it as a snowman. It's same with the sorcery. Why do they mention them as sorcerers? Like, that doesn't fit in with the folklore at all. The snowman says, oh yes, that's why your Aunt Greta came back, because she needs to put the curse on me for another 10 years. Snowman was lying, so why did Aunt Greta come back? Did the spell legitimately end after 10 years? Yeah, I like the idea of an evil snowman. I just don't get why you just don't make that the focus. Why throw in all these elements at the end of like, oh, there's magic. Your dad's a magician. Just make it a fucking snowman. Besides that, it's kind of like, I like it. It's good. It's very sort of morose tone throughout the whole thing. A lot of the other Goosebumps books will have scenes at school or with their friends to sort of, break up the spookiness. It's got this very, very overall bleak tone. I like the idea that there's this family connection. They have to come back to finish this job or renew a curse. But when you get into semantics of, wait, so why are your parents sorcerers? That's just a thing you accept, is it? Overall, it's an entertaining book, though, and quite different. But that's all for this week. Please join me next time, which I discuss Goosebumps number 52, How I Learned to Fly. In the meantime, though, thank you for watching, and please, stay spooky.